My name is Madison, and I have developed these instructional videos about 24/7 posture care management as a portion of my doctoral capstone project for occupational therapy. I also created detailed PDF resources available on the Posture 24/7 website that provide in-depth and evidence-based guidance to use in combination with these videos. The purpose of these videos is to demonstrate certain aspects of posture care management that require visual aid. I will use PCM for posture care management and will refer to the individual who is utilizing PCM as the user of the therapeutic positioning system. Let's begin by reviewing common postural deviations and asymmetries, followed by demonstrating the placement of postural supports for a range of unique needs. We will show how to create postural support for both supine and side lying. Supine lying, which means lying on the back, is most beneficial for limiting postural asymmetries, decreasing the impact of gravity, and distributing pressure over a larger surface area. However, if it is impossible to lie supine, we will also demonstrate how to place supports for side lying. Some users may eventually transition into supine lying. The following descriptions can help determine the postural deviations or asymmetries that the user may need to have supported. To provide visual aid, I will be using hammy. When supine and the knees fall together to one side of the body, this is a windswept posture. If the knees fall outward away from the body, this is hip abduction. When the knees fall together towards the center, it is called hip adduction. On each side of the pelvis, there is a bony prominence that is on the front and sides, and you can feel this on yourself if you place your hands on your hips with your thumbs facing back, and your index fingers will rest near the prominence, which we call the ASIS. Here on hammy, they're marked on the sides. When looking at the user from the front, if one side of the pelvis or ASIS is higher than the other side, like this, then this is pelvic obliquity. Pelvic rotation can be seen by looking down from the top of the head to observe the pelvis, noticing if one side of the pelvis is rotated more forward than the other side. Seen here. One side of the pelvis is further back and one is further forward. The pelvis also tilts forward or backward. This is called anterior pelvic tilt, and this is posterior pelvic tilt. Now let's look at deviations of the spine. When looking at the user's back, a scoliosis curve can be identified if it is curved side to side rather than being straight up and down, like this. Usually, there is an element of spinal rotation as well. Chest rotation is often an early predictor for the development of scoliosis later on. To identify chest rotation, look at the user's sternum, also known as the breastbone, while they are lying as straight as possible. If the sternum is tilted or appears to drift off to one side or the other, this indicates chest rotation. The last two deviations of the spine are seen from the side of the user. If the user's spine has an exaggerated forward curve that places the head and pelvis in front of the spine, that is kyphosis. Lordosis is an exaggerated spinal curve in the low back, pushing the abdomen forward, and is sometimes known as a swayback. Head tilt is when the neck is flexed to the side, bringing one's ear closer to the shoulder. Neck rotation is when the head is not facing straight forward, instead bringing the chin closer to the shoulders than the center of the chest. Over time, the force of gravity will worsen these postural deviations and asymmetries. The goal when placing postural supports is to have the body as aligned as possible, then to provide supports that keep the body in alignment while prioritizing the comfort of the user. Another goal is to distribute the pressure to larger surface areas of the body. When the pelvis or back is not in total contact with the supporting surface, like the bed, then parts of the body that are in contact with the surface will be subjected to excessive pressure. Therefore, it is important that all parts of the body have direct contact with the surface to ensure broader pressure distribution. The aim is to be as aligned as possible, but full alignment may not be achieved. Everybody's body is different. If parts of the body are tighter, with less range of motion, provide supports to increase comfort and distribute pressure. Over time, as a person's body relaxes, gradual changes can be made for better alignment. A helpful quote from 2 researchers and clinicians in this field is to correct what is correctable, adapt for the rest. This is Abby, and she is a user of 24/7 posture management and is graciously helping us with this demonstration. So we will start with the user lying on their back as much as possible. Begin noticing what happens with the limbs, torso, head, and feet. Identify the body's midline and notice where postural deviations and asymmetries may be occurring. So when Abby is lying here without any postural supports, we can see some postural deviations and asymmetries. First, we see a slight spinal curve, and we have pelvic obliquity as this ASIS is lower than this one. There's also pelvic rotation happening as this side is coming up a little higher than this side. We see hip adduction as her knees are coming together, and plantar flexion as her toes are pointing down. Please note that the postural supports used in this video are just options. Many more ideas for postural supports are described in a different video and a PDF resource available on the Posture 24/7 website. To provide comfort, let's begin by supporting under the knees. Most people will immediately experience less tension and more comfort once their knees are resting on a higher surface. Right, ready?
Yep.
Depending on how tight the user's knees and hips are, the under-knee support may need to be higher or lower. Abby, what do you feel like you need at this moment? Do you want it to be a little higher or lower right now?
It could be a little higher.
Okay, sounds good. I'll grab another pillow. How does that feel?
Yeah, you're better.
Okay, good.
Much better.
Okay. To raise the height, simply add extra support under the knees and thighs. The first part of the body to be aligned is the pelvis. We have placed markers on Abby's pelvis to identify each ASIS. We will be placing lateral supports under the non-slip mesh and under the comfort cushion layer, and get them nice and snug against the hips here on each side. Okay. And with these type of brackets, use the bottom part facing away from the body, not going under the body. So again, between the non-mesh or the non-slip mesh Okay. Once the supports are in place, we will look at the alignment of the pelvis, and if it needs to be adjusted to either side, we can tug on the sheets gently. So here we do have this side of the hip is a little bit higher than this side, so I'm going to tug on the sheets here to pull her pelvis this way. Ready? Mm-hmm. How does that feel right now? Is it a little too much?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go back over to the other side then, because we can go back and forth from side to side and get her to a spot where she's comfortable and her pelvis is aligned. So I'm going to give another little tug. How does that feel, Abby?
That's better.
Okay, let me look from here. It does look a little better. I might do a small little tug on this side again, okay?
Okay.
How does that feel?
Everything looks good. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, good. Moving up the torso, observe the symmetry of the chest and spine. Notice whether or not the sternum is centered. To see this better, we have placed a marker on the base of Abby's sternum here. We will place the supports again between the two non-slip layers and get the supports that you've chosen nice and snug against the body. Do you mind if I move your arm up a little bit here?
Nope, I don't mind.
Okay. All right. And on the other side, again, do you mind if I move your arm? Okay. Okay. Once these supports have been placed, we will check again with the alignment of the sternum and the chest and see if the sheets need a little tug on either side. This can help rotate the chest into alignment and provide support against the side of the body to help with scoliosis. So let me see here how our alignment is. Okay, I might give just a little tug on this side.
Okay.
Okay, how does that feel?
That feels better.
Okay, good. And it looks straight to me. I'm gonna come up here and see. Okay, the pelvis and the sternum are perpendicular, so this is good. Check in with the user after each tug of the sheets to determine if they are comfortable. You may need to go back and forth, tugging gently on the sheets to both straighten the chest and ensure the user's comfort. When placing these lateral supports, it is important that there is an extra layer of cushioning over them, as there are bony prominences along the chest, on the rib cage, and on the arm, and this will help prevent pressure injuries in those areas. Moving further up the spine, observe the position of the user's head and neck. If the user typically sleeps with a pillow, then use a pillow to fully support the head and neck. If the head is rotated or easily rolls to the side of the face, you can place one small support under the pillow to nudge it towards the center. You can also place two small supports under the pillow to act as a cradle for the head. Here for Abby, we see that her face normally is rotating a little bit towards this side, so we're going to place a small towel roll under the pillow. Ready?
Yep.
Okay. How does that feel?
That's good.
Okay.
We're not rolling as
much. Okay. And anytime these supports are added, you may need to use a larger support or a smaller, depending on the user's comfort. The goal is for the user to look directly forward towards the ceiling rather than looking to the walls. These supports can help align the neck for both head rotation and tilt. If there is space under the neck, make sure that the pillow comes up all the way to support the neck's natural curve. This could be a small rag folded once or twice and placed under the pillow beneath the neck if needed. Now we can address the limbs. The goal is to place the legs in an aligned position in relation to the pelvis, meaning that the femurs should be positioned evenly apart, staying parallel or slightly abducted. To ensure that knees don't come together, add another support between the knees to prevent hip adduction, and support either side of the knees on the outside to prevent hip abduction. To place the knees in this specific position, a specialized support is often needed. These can be purchased from commercial retailers or created at home. In another video, there is a demonstration of how to create this type of support from home. So Abby, we're gonna place this between your knees and on the outside of your knees.
Okay.
And since there will be this extra cushion, is it okay if we take this top pillow away and see how that feels for you?
Yes.
Okay, sounds good. Ready?
Yep.
Okay, how does that feel?
Good.
All right, and I will come check the alignment here. Looks good. This specific support does have a buckle that can be placed around it to ensure that the legs stay in this position. And now we will want to take pressure off of the heels. So always be sure to check the user's heels, as this is a high-risk area for pressure injuries. The aim is to have floating heels. So we'll make sure that some support is added beneath the calves first. We're just gonna use a folded towel here. Do you mind if I lift?
No, I don't mind.
Now we do have floating heels, but the feet don't have any support. Many people report increased comfort and stability of their feet and ankles if a small support is placed under the ball of the foot. This also helps prevent foot drop. I'll be placing this support under, we think it's about tall enough, and this can be placed under the sheet to keep it secure. Okay, so now Abby's heels are floating, but the balls of her feet are supported and they're not falling down into a pointed toe. And how is this feeling so
Good.
far? Okay.
Very, like, nice and, like, supported. We're not feeling like we're gonna fall or go anywhere.
Good, that's great, that's the goal. Okay. Now moving up to the arms, many users will appreciate some type of support under the elbows or arms, depending on their own postural tendency. If they come forward, maybe to have cushions or rolled towels, pillows beneath the elbows or on top of the torso. Here, Abby has, her tendency is to externally rotate, and we are working on bringing her arms a little bit farther forward. So we have decided to place some additional cushioning here on these lateral supports. So we have placed these towels here to add a little bit of comfort on the lateral supports, so when her arms are resting on the towels, they're comfortable. And we will lay this weighted blanket out. And I'm going to come around to this side. And we're going to internally rotate her arms here and allow for some support. Do you mind if I pull your elbow out a little bit? Is that okay?
Yep.
Okay. And we'll cover it there. Give the hand a little support for this position. And we'll do the same on this side. All right. And this is a 4-pound weighted blanket, so it is helping keep her arms in this position without stretching her shoulders too much. Do your shoulders feel tight, or are they comfortable right
No,
here?
they're comfortable.
Okay, good. And how are the rest of your arms feeling?
Like much better.
Okay, that's great. Okay. Once all of the supports are in place, be sure to check in and make sure that the body is still in alignment after making adjustments throughout, and continue to check in with the user's comfort. If the user needs to lie on their side, preventing body rotation is the priority. If the user's trunk is rotated even slightly, gravity will increase the rotation over time. So notice where the user's body is prone to rotate. This will be impacted by the weight of the top arm and top leg. The chest may be rotated down towards the support surface or up towards the ceiling. And Abby will show that here a little. Yep, right now she's kind of rotated down, and now we'll show a little rotation up. Yeah, there. And we see the arms go from a curled in position in front to a spread out position. Now look at the pelvis and legs. Are they directly stacked on top of each other, or is one leg in front of the other? Here Abby's left leg is in front, but some users may cross this leg over more again rotating the pelvis forward, or it could be crossed back, bringing the pelvis back a little further. Begin by aligning the pelvis, which should be straight up and down, meaning one side of the pelvis is directly above the other side. To stabilize the pelvis and limit risk of hip dislocations, stack the legs directly above each other. Supports are placed between the thighs, knees, and down to the feet. Ready for the first pillow?
Yep.
Okay. So we'll lift up. And how does that feel? Do you think you need another pillow?
Yeah, I'm kind of like feeling like we're falling over, or like not like we're gonna fall, but you know.
Okay, not quite comfortable.
No.
And as we can see here, this hip is still adducted and the knees are coming close to each other, so we will add another support between the legs. Here we'll take a second pillow. Ready?
Yep.
All right. How does that feel, Abby?
Like much better.
Okay, and we can see here that the hips are more aligned, the legs are more parallel to each other, and we're protecting the bony prominences of the knees, ankles, and feet. Next, provide postural support behind the user's back. This support should be sturdy and placed between the two non-slip layers so that the user can lean back against it without it sliding away. Here we will use brackets, and I'll place them under the cushion layer and between the non-slip. I'll be placing two of these, one against Abby's lower back and one against the mid-upper back. Comfort. This support should be sturdy and placed between the two non-slip layers so that the user can lean against it without it sliding away from their back. So we're putting it between these two non-slip layers here. One at her low back and one on the upper mid-back. And covered in this cushion layer and the sheets. This support also helps take some of the direct pressure off of the user's bottom shoulder. Next, add a fairly large support, maybe a couple of pillows or a large stuffed animal to support the arms. This helps keep the shoulders from rolling forward. Here we're folding up a pillow and we'll place it here. Helping the shoulders align, making sure that the arms don't fall too far forward. How's that, Abby?
Good.
Good. Lastly, make sure the neck and head are supported. In side lying, there is a tendency to flex the neck forward, bringing the chin close to the chest, but this feeds into kyphosis or a hunchback tendency. Instead, position the user's head in alignment with the spine as much as possible. All right, so we'll bring your head back a little bit this way. Okay, great. Supports can be added beneath the pillow to secure the head in this position, if needed, like that, for example. Abby, how is your neck feeling right now? Do you feel like one side is being stretched more than the other?
Yep.
Okay, so do you think your head is a little too high or not high enough?
I think it's too high.
Okay. But maybe, does your neck feel like there's not enough support under it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So we will take away the pillow and make sure that we provide enough support between her shoulder and neck. Maybe an extra support needs to be placed here while a little less support is placed under the head. So we'll try a couple things here. I'll remove this pillow and your head will drop. Are you okay?
Yep.
Okay. So let's try Here I have a towel with a small towel roll that can be placed under the neck, and the rest of the towel can go under the head. Let's see how this feels. Okay, ready?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. And I'm going to come check from the front to see if her head is in alignment with her spine here. Okay. Under the neck looks a little better, but is there still a little bit of a stretch on the top side of your neck a little here?
Yes, but it's a ton better.
Okay, that's good. We will place a small towel under the head just to lift it up to keep the head in alignment and not from tilting. Ready?
Yep.
Okay, how does that feel?
Much better.
Okay, and so you can again check the user's spine, making sure that the neck is aligned with the spine and that the head is supported and not tilting off to one side or the other too much. When these postural supports have been placed, remember to check in with the user's comfort. As the user's body begins to get used to this PCM system, adjustments will need to occur over time.